Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
An organization regarded as part of a larger social group. The coach said the offensive unit did a good job. Any division of quantity accepted as a standard of measurement or exchange. The dollar is the United States unit of currency. An assemblage of parts that is regarded as a single entity. The team is a unit. A single undivided natural thing occurring in the composition of something else. Units of nucleic acids. An individual or group or structure or other entity regarded as a structural or functional constituent of a whole. Reduced the number of units and installations. A single undivided whole. An idea is not a unit that can be moved from one brain to another. An organization regarded as part of a larger social group. Any division of quantity accepted as a standard of measurement or exchange. Not injured or harmed. An assemblage of parts that is regarded as a single entity. How big is that part compared to the whole? Acting together as a single undiversified whole. Exhibiting or restored to vigorous good health. Whole in mind and body. To a complete degree or to the full or entire extent, whole, is often used informally for wholly. A whole new idea. All of something including all its component elements or parts. Europe considered as a whole. Including all components without exception. Being one unit or constituting the full amount or extent or duration, complete. Gave his whole attention. Of siblings, having the same parents. Whole brothers and sisters. A single undivided natural thing occurring in the composition of something else. A block of material used in construction work. The persons, are committees or departments etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. An ordered manner. Orderliness by virtue of being methodical and well organized. His compulsive organization was not an endearing quality. The act of forming or establishing something. He still remembers the organization of the club. The activity or result of distributing or disposing persons or things properly or methodically. His organization of the workforce was very efficient. A group of people who work together. The act of organizing a business or an activity related to a business. He was brought in to supervise the organization of a new department. An organized structure for arranging or classifying. The facts were familiar, but it was in the organization of them that he was original. The persons, are committees or departments etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. An ordered manner. Orderliness by virtue of being methodical and well organized. The act of forming or establishing something. The activity or result of distributing or disposing persons or things properly or methodically. A group of people who work together. The act of organizing a business or an activity related to a business. An organized structure for arranging or classifying. A specific measure of amount. A tangible and visible entity. An entity that can cast a shadow. The goal intended to be attained, and which is believed to be attainable. The sole object of her trip was to see her children. A tangible and visible entity. An entity that can cast a shadow. It was full of rackets, balls and other objects. Be averse to or express disapproval of. My wife objects to modern furniture. Computing. A discrete item that provides a description of virtually anything known to a computer. In object-oriented programming, objects include data and define its status, its methods of operation and how it interacts with other objects. Express or raise an objection or protest or criticism or express dissent. She never objected to the amount of work her boss charged her with. Grammar. A constituent that is acted upon. The object of the verb. The focus of cognitions or feelings. Objects of thought. A vaguely specified concern. Things are going well. An action. How could you do such a thing? An artifact. How does this thing work? An entity that is not named specifically. I couldn't tell what the thing was. An event. A funny thing happened on the way to the. Any attribute or quality considered as having its own existence. The thing I like about her is. A persistent illogical feeling of desire or aversion. He has a thing about seafood. A separate and self-contained entity. A special abstraction. A thing of the spirit. A special objective. The thing is to stay in bounds. A special situation. This thing has got to end. A statement regarded as an object. To say the same thing in other terms. An artifact that is one of the individual parts of which a composite entity is made up, especially a part that can be separated from or attached to a system. A component or constituent element of a system. An abstract part of something. Two constituents of a musical composition are melody and harmony. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. The animal constituent of plankton. Constitutional in the structure of something, especially your physical makeup. Grammar. A word or phrase or clause forming part of a larger grammatical construction. A member of a constituency. A citizen who is represented in a government by officials for whom he or she votes. Needs continued support by constituents to be re-elected. An individual quantity of food or drink taken as part of a meal. His portion was larger than hers. Assets belonging to or due to or contributed by an individual person or group. Something less than the whole of a human artifact. The allotment of some amount by dividing something. Money or property brought by a woman to her husband at marriage. Give out. Your overall circumstances or condition in life, including everything that happens to you. Success that was her portion. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. I read a portion of the manuscript. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. An artifact that is one of the individual parts of which a composite entity is made up, especially a part that can be separated from or attached to a system. Spare components for cars. An abstract part of something. Jealousy was a component of his character. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. The smaller component is hard to reach. The effort contributed by a person in bringing about a result. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. The government must do its part. To some extent, in some degree, not wholly. I felt partly to blame. Assets belonging to or due to or contributed by an individual person or group. A portion of a natural object. They analyzed the river into 3 parts. Something less than the whole of a human artifact. The rear part of the house. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The written part of the exam. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The business partners broke over a tax question. The melody carried by a particular voice or instrument in polyphonic music. He tried to sing the tenor part. Force, take, or pull apart. Moses parted the Red Sea. An item that is an instance of some type. My dog swallowed a Lego part. A line of scalp that can be seen when sections of hair are combed in opposite directions. His part was right in the middle. Leave. The extended spatial location of something. Religions in all parts of the world. Go one's own way. Move apart. The friends separated after the party. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. He wanted to feel a part of something bigger than himself. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. She played the part of Desdemona. Come apart. That which concerns a person with regard to a particular role or situation. It requires vigilance on our part. Of a law, having legal validity. Group of people willing to obey orders. A public force is necessary to give security to the rights of citizens. Physical energy or intensity. He hit with all the force he could muster. A put-out of a base runner who is required to run. The put-out is accomplished by holding the ball while touching the base to which the runner must advance before the runner reaches that base. The shortstop got the runner at second on a force. To cause to do through pressure or necessity, by physical, moral or intellectual means. She forced him to take a job in the city. Force into or from an action or state, either physically or metaphorically. Urge or force, a person, to an action, constrain or motivate. Move with force. Impose urgently, importunately, or inexorably. She forced her diet fads on him. Squeeze like a wedge into a tight space. A unit that is part of some military service. He sent Caesar a force of 6,000 men. One possessing or exercising power or influence or authority. May the force be with you. An act of aggression, as one against a person who resists. He may accomplish by craft in the long run what he cannot do by force and violence in the short one. Take by force. A group of people having the power of effective action. He joined forces with a band of adventurers. A powerful effect or influence. The force of his eloquence easily persuaded them. Do forcibly, exert force. Don't force it. Physics, the influence that produces a change in a physical quantity. Force equals mass times acceleration. A cooperative unit, especially in sports. A small squad of policemen trained to deal with a particular kind of crime. A smallest army unit. An informal body of friends. An organized group of workmen. An association of criminals. Police tried to break up the gang. Act as an organized group. Tool consisting of a combination of implements arranged to work together. The part of a post office that handles mail for persons who call for it. A program that appears desirable but actually contains something harmful. When he downloaded the free game, it turned out to be a Trojan horse. A large hollow wooden figure of a horse, filled with Greek soldiers, left by the Greeks outside Troy during the Trojan War. A subversive group that supports the enemy and engages in espionage or sabotage, an enemy in your midst. Baseball. Base consisting of a rubber slab where the batter stands. It must be touched by a base runner in order to score. He ruled that the runner failed to touch home. An institution where people are cared for. A home for the elderly. A social unit living together. The teacher asked how many people made up his home. Inside the country. Where you live at a particular time. Deliver the package to my home. The place where you are stationed and from which missions start and end. Housing that someone is living in. They raise money to provide homes for the homeless. An environment offering affection and security. Home is where the heart is. Place where something began and flourished. The United States is the home of basketball. Provide with, or send to, a home. Return home accurately from a long distance. The country or state or city where you live. Canadian tariffs enabled United States lumber companies to raise prices at home. Used of your own ground. A home game. Relating to or being where one lives or where one's roots are. My hometown. Provide housing for. The immigrants were housed in a new development outside the town. A social unit living together. It was a good Christian household. The members of a business organization that owns or operates one or more establishments. He worked for a brokerage house. Astrology, one of 12 equal areas into which the zodiac is divided. A building where theatrical performances or motion picture shows can be presented. The house was full. A building in which something is sheltered or located. They had a large carriage house. A dwelling that serves as living quarters for one or more families. He has a house on Cape Cod. An official assembly having legislative powers. A bicameral legislature has 2 houses. Aristocratic family line. Contain or cover. This box houses the gears. Play in which children take the roles of father or mother or children and pretend to interact like adults. The children were playing house. The audience gathered together in a theater or cinema. The house applauded. The management of a gambling house or casino. The house gets a percentage of every bet. The members of a religious community living together. A social unit living together. It was a good Christian household. A hospital unit staffed and equipped to provide intensive care. A hospital unit staffed and equipped to provide intensive care. A local unit of the Ku Klux Klan. An orderly crowd. A troop of children. A unit of Girl or Boy Scouts. March in a procession. A cavalry unit corresponding to an infantry company. A group of soldiers. Move or march as if in a crowd. They children trooped into the room. An informal body of friends. An organized group of workmen. Serve as a crew member on. The men and women who man a vehicle, ship, aircraft, etc. The team of men manning a racing shell. An artifact, or system of artifacts, that is instrumental in accomplishing some end. A subsidiary organ of government created for a special purpose. The quality of being instrumental for some purpose. A unit with administrative responsibilities.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.